Hey guys, welcome to our channel. So I've got another video coming out, and it's going to deal with the rest of this, part of the rest of this uh, soft and dry decode. And I wanted to take a minute and talk about proof versus evidence. All right. Because I was watching a couple of videos this morning, and one of the bigger channels had mentioned that people have theories, but nobody has any proof. And I just sat there and I was like, really? Like, well, then what the hell are we doing? And I sat and I was just like, well, if that's the case and nobody has any proof, then there's no point to all the work, because it's a lot of work. Coming up with this, doing this, decoding these is a lot of work. And, there's not a whole lot of interest. Some, but not, thousands and thousands of people's worth like is for other people and their stuff. And I thought about it, like, what am I doing? What are we doing? And it dawned on me, like, well, I guess they're right. We don't have proof. So I would say that the only way you're going to come up with actual hardcore 100% proof of something would be to catch somebody red-handed with a quantum computer using it. That's all you got. Otherwise, you've just got a mountain of evidence. And sadly, the evidence could easily be argued as not easily, but the evidence could be argued as a coincidence, right? Say, well, that's a coincidence that you found all that stuff. And that's a coincidence that through most of the searches, a lot of common themes came up. And it can be argued because it's not proof. So once again, I think the only way you're going to prove that somebody used it, and even if you caught them red-handed using the quantum computer, to prove that, they could say, no, it wasn't, and my computer doesn't work that way. And then you'd have to set out to prove that it does. So while some of these, we know that some of these are quantum computers, and we're pretty sure that some of these are shifts, sadly, I think we'll have a mountain of evidence but no proof. And then there's one other way that I could think to prove 100%, and that would be to get a hold of a quantum computer myself and get familiar with its inner workings. And then maybe change something myself based on a calculation. And then go prove that happened and what I did. And even then, somebody could argue it's a coincidence, right? So, and I think that goes for everybody and anybody that's out there trying to figure this particular problem out. I think they're going to come up with evidence if they're looking in the right places and doing the right things. But I think it will be tough to come up with 100% proof. So everything's going to be a theory or a hypothesis until somebody can prove 100% something, which that's going to be rough going. That's going to be rough going. So, but evidence, the evidence is all over the place, right? I mean, just look at our archive of videos and for me, it's really as simple as looking at any given random page and seeing what's going on with it. And then finding another random page. Looking at all the protein coding genes looking at all the artificial intelligence hits we had to begin with when we were not doing categories. Um, and that's another thing I'd like to say. These categories kind of, me and my fiance talked about it last night, and I was talking about adding another category. And she had told me, well, that's just a category you're trying to add just to appease a certain group of people. And then she pointed out that these other categories we're doing made themselves. The reason we shot in them, or that we searched in these categories to begin with, was because Phoenix mentioned that our random searches were coming up in 3 or 4 categories. So we started searching the 3 or 4 categories we saw, and we would have. Technology is one I should have added but never thought of. Simple until such a time that then it would until we found that one potential quantum computer user that was studying technology. So we added it, but in theory, it should have been there the whole time because we were always finding technology, right? So I just wanted to get this out and just say that there is a fine line between evidence and proof. And I'm not so sure that I'm trying to think of other ways that you could prove stuff, that you could prove this stuff with 100% proof. I mean, honestly, even if I went and found a guy that operated a quantum computer that said, yeah, that's how it's done and that's how it works, and then came on my channel and explained exactly how the quantum computer worked and exactly how they left the code and exactly what code they leave, even if I had that, and even if the guy could say, well, no, because you're missing a layer of code here and you're missing a layer of code there and there and there, and he knew, it could still be argued by somebody somewhere that that wasn't proof because the guy didn't know anything and he was just some guy I found on the street and blah 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 blah. So even if you were able to find a guy that was doing it and that could explain how exactly it was being done, some people could argue they weren't genuine or they didn't know that they made it up. So there you go. I mean, I don't know what would constitute 100% proof. If anyone else has an idea of what would constitute 100% proof, let us know in the comments, because that'd be interesting to find 100% proof. But in the meantime, I guess all we can show is evidence. We can show evidence. We can show that some of these changes connect to each other, even though they seem random. By if you decode it like we have and find the protein coding gene, for instance. Protein coding gene in one search, protein coding gene in another song search or movie. We've been doing movies too, and now soft and dry as well. So, yeah, um, we'll keep doing it. We'll keep going. Um, just made me stop and think about proof versus evidence. Well, and I would say that as far as evidence goes, we've got a lot of evidence. Now, we don't do a whole lot of residue research because I could. I used to until we started doing this other thing because yeah, I about got to pick one or the other. I can't, if I sat there and did residue research, I'd be who knows how long doing that, and then I'd have to turn back around and decode it. So as you could imagine, that would get lengthy, and it's already involved, and it already takes a lot of time, and it's already a lot of work. Excuse me. Sorry about that, guys. But I forgot where I was even at on the video now. But we were about done. Um, I was just saying, guys, you could rack up a ton of evidence, and I'm not sure how you would go about getting 100% proof. I can prove, we can prove that some of these themes carry from change to change to change. We can prove that in many cases, these numbers aren't going back to the people we think are using a quantum computer in some reality. We can prove that. All right. We can prove the pattern. We have proof. We have 100% proof that there is a pattern. That's proof. We have it. There's a pattern. Now, if the pattern breaks and a different pattern emerges, fine. But as for now, as for what we have right now, there is a pattern. There's a pattern in the songs, in the variance percentages on a chart, and there's a pattern to the decodes. And we actually have proof of the pattern. That pattern is evidence of what we think is quantum computer use, but not proof. See, there's a difference. So we do have some proof. Like I said, you can prove there's a pattern. You can prove that common themes run between the changes, such as protein coding genes, certain chemicals, and certain technologies, and certain biological technologies. The AI human thing hybrid thing or my fiance's theory that she's got going on, that, by the way, I agree with. I think they're working on something like that. I'm seeing plenty of evidence for it. So, yeah, we're gathering up evidence. We have proved a thing or two. Does that prove a theory on the Mandela effect? Unfortunately, not. Not proof. Strong evidence. And so that's going to be it, guys. Just kind of wanted to throw this out there. Proof versus evidence basically is what we're dealing with. And we're going to keep providing evidence and proving what we can and providing evidence to everything else as far as the Mandela effect and the changes go. And to us, that is as real an answer as you're going to get right now. And as good a evidence as you're going to get right now, and as good a proof, well, we can prove the pattern. It can be argued a coincidence, but we can definitely prove there's a pattern. We're not saying that we can prove it's not a coincidence, but we can definitely prove there's a pattern, and it can be argued a coincidence. So we do have proof of some things, and we do have evidence of other, and that proof of some things is evidence towards the greater theory that quantum computers are causing some of these changes, not all. We already know the quantum computers aren't causing all the changes. We never thought they were. But the theory was out there that they were causing some of them. Some people think they're causing them all. I can't subscribe to that theory, and neither can my fiance. But we do definitely believe they're causing some of the changes. And we have proof of the pattern and we think that's evidence for the quantum computer use. So that's going to be it for this one, guys. I've already ran it longer than I wanted to, and I was just winging it anyway. And we will come out with our next decode video. I ran the numerological numbers against some research groups. I'm still in the middle of doing that. It's a lot of work, and so yeah, guys, thanks for all your thumbs up, thumbs down. Thanks for all your comments, leads, feedback, and subscriptions. And I suppose that we could make this a thumbs video, but I don't know that there's a point to it. You guys can thumb it up if you're with us, and thumb it down if you think that we're wrong. And comment and let us know what you think. And thanks a lot for watching, guys, and those of you who are participating, we really appreciate that. And for now, you guys have a great rest of your day.